So they are hungry. You can see how concave their bellies are. Hello, Zombie Cow. Zombie Cow would like to know, what do cheetah eat the most? Well, I'd say in this area, probably duiker and steenbok and impala were their three most common things that they eat. Let's have a look. They might be heading towards that little mud wallow. Could be some water in it. Get ready with the screenshots. If they stop for a drink, it could be spectacular. It is going to be spectacular. They are stopping for a drink. Now, I hope you guys are getting some great screenshots. Remember to share them on our Facebook page, Safari Live, or pop them on Twitter with the hashtag Safari Live. And I can't help myself. I'm going to have to take one photograph. Hello, Lady Lone Wolf. Lady Lone Wolf would like to know, will these cheetah stay together for life? Indeed they will. It's probably a 90% chance that these guys are brothers. Now, cheetah coalitions, male coalitions, are always made up of related male cheetah, so brothers. And even though only one of them might mate, the other will defend the same territory or home range, knowing that its genes are being passed down by its sibling. Now, cheetah fights can be quite spectacular. I know of a cheetah fight that happened in Botswana that lasted for just under 48 hours. It was two different coalitions of two males that fought and rested and then fought again and rested and fought again. So they can be quite violent when they want. Generally, they are very, very relaxed around human beings. There's very few recorded cases of cheetah attacking humans outside of captive bred animals. So in the wild, they tend to share away from conflict rather than towards it. The complete opposite strategy to a male lion. Now, the biggest threats to cheetah, of course, from the other animals, is, like with most animals, is lions. They are absolutely gorgeous animals. Actually hear them drinking. Hi, James. James is wondering, do they ever climb trees? They do indeed, James. And generally, they're not nearly as good at tree climbers as leopards, but they generally prefer to climb sort of trees that have been pushed over by elephants, and it's also the spot where they generally will like to defecate. It's a very good spot to mark your territory out in the open and quite up high. As I said, they are quite hungry, so they are going to be on the move. This is the right time of the day for cheetah to be on the move, just as that temperature drops a little bit. And they are that wonderful word I can never get tired of saying. They are crepuscular, which means they are most active at dusk and dawn. So early afternoon, or late afternoon now, going through to early evening, is when cheetahs do most of their hunting. You see their very rounded heads and very aerodynamic. Tony's wondering if there's something wrong with one of the cheetah's eyes. Not that I can see, Tony. But I will have a closer look again now. Isn't this just wonderful? What a wonderful afternoon way down in the east here on Cheetah Plains. It's cats, cats, and more cats today. So we're going to stick with these cheetah for now. You can hear the crowned lapwings are not impressed. They're flying over the cheetah. There's a good spot for a scent mark. Now Ed is wondering if they came across a female, would they fight each other for mating rights? Ed, they would not. As I said, generally only one coalition member will mate, the other will sit to the side, and that other male is generally happy to let the other male mate because it knows its genetic line is still being passed down. Oh, and there we go, drink and a spot of shade. Now often you might have heard us say when you're looking for cheetah, especially on these big open areas, you need to look for something that looks like a pile of elephant dung. They're one of the only big cats, or the only big cat that lies completely flat like that with their head popped up, and sometimes from a distance it can look like a large pile of elephant dung, but it turns out to be the fastest land mammal in the world. So they are more active than the other cats, but they still do have problems dealing with heat, so they will walk a little bit, rest, walk a little bit, rest, just like the other cats. Now we're going to sit here, we're not going to move an inch to see what these cheetah get up to next. While we do that, let's go see what incredible little creature Jamie has found.
We have found one of the most beautiful bugs. I say we, Jeandre actually spotted this particular one, and it is one of the most beautiful, and I never thought I'd say this, it is one of the most beautiful, attractive stink bugs I have ever seen. So it is one of the members, or one of the very many, come back here, hold on, and stop, thank you, no, and stop there, no, stop, no, don't stop there, oh no. I'm reluctant to manhandle him in any way, partly because of course I don't want to manhandle it, but also because there's a reason they are called stink bugs. No. Alright, come onto my hand then. Perhaps that's how we should do things. There you go, Jeandre, there's a small window in which you can have a look at him. Just have a look quickly at the beautiful patterns on this particular bug. An incredible purple orangey combination, and very, very symmetrical. There he goes, going towards my thumbnails. Gives you an idea of size as well. There. Isn't he awesome? Such fantastic coloration. Now, why is he called a stink bug? Well, the name is relatively self-explanatory, is it not, Jeandre? Yes. Have we all experienced it? Yes, we have. Is it something I feel as though the DRC has not yet experienced? Yes, to an extent. The day is coming.
Should take it back.
Should we take it back? No, we shan't. We shouldn't. We shan't. We shouldn't. Shame. It would be quite sad and very lonely. There's probably more stink bugs, because in my experience, when there is one stink bug, there are many stink bugs. And once they are deceased, they are, what would they be called? I suppose still stink bugs. So the reason they're called stink bugs is if they are squashed or manhandled in any way, they are unbelievably smelly. Paula, you say you're not a bug person, but they have unbelievable colouring. Yes, absolutely. I completely understand that a lot of people are not bug people at all. And in fact, I wouldn't have described myself as a bug person before I started really getting to know and watching. Oops, sorry. That was my fault. I poked it with my radio. And before getting to know them and spending time and watching them and the fascination of their little world, and starting to imagine seeing things from the perspective of something so unbelievably tiny, what the world of giants must look like, and if they experience things at all like we do, or if their perception of the world is completely skewed. Anyway, stink bugs are called stink bugs because they stink. If they are squashed, they give off this absolute pong. I don't know how else to describe it. This malodorous, nose-burning stench. And it's not just a smell, it's a flavor as well, especially if they have wound up in your food. And what often happens is you get, this one's relatively harmless. It's not problematic at all. And Rebecca, no, they don't bite. They don't bite at all. So they're not dangerous. I'm not worried about touching it. I'm just worried about in any way making it feel uncomfortable so that it releases the noxious chemicals that it contains inside of itself. And I don't know exactly what those chemicals are. I don't know exactly how they work. What you usually find, this one's lovely. It's big, it's clearly visible, it's on its own little plant and not bothering anyone. What you do find is you get this explosion in population of the black-coloured stink bugs, but they're tiny. Tiny as in a quarter of the size of that little stink bug. And they are everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. When you get a population explosion, they're in your bed, they're in your shoes, you put your head on the pillow, there's one on your pillow, you squash it, crawls onto your hand and you squash it accidentally, or they're in your food, or they're in your wine, or they're in your whatever it happens to be. And you do end up eating them by mistake as well, and that's done. That's your plate of food over. You might as well give up at that point. You'll give up on your meal because they have such an incredibly powerful taste that they completely the flavor's gone, and you're just going to be left with this unpleasant taste in your mouth. So yes, the stink bugs are a reality of life out here. We get them in population explosions. That one's beautiful and harmless, but the slightly smaller ones are not so pleasant. Well, speaking of, let's go from unpleasant things to pleasant things. I can't believe there are cheetah on cheetah plains. I can believe there are cheetah on cheetah plains. I don't know where they were this morning, but we know they've come out this afternoon. So let's go back to Brent.
Unluckily for Jamie, they were south of the boundary this morning, but we must have got to them just after they crossed. So isn't this exciting? We've decided to emulate the cheetah and we've moved into the shade. So Dangerous Dave and myself are behaving just like cheetah, and we're hoping that we're going to be able to get up and follow them on the hunt shortly. So, oh Dave, bird on top of the tree. Oh, I think that's a new one for this wet season. Here we go, paradise, Whydah. You never know what's out here. So that might be, off he goes. Where's his girlfriend? Now, he's on the ground, down, left. There he is. Oh, he's keeping Dave honest. To the right. And where's my hand? There. Oh, he just skipped behind the bush. So there's paradise Whydah. So during the winter months, he is a dull brown, drab little bird. But soon as summer comes and it's time to impress the ladies, he grows a magnificent tail, gets some rouging on his chest, and is hopefully going to attract all the mates. Now, it doesn't look like he's doing too well at the moment. I don't see a flock of females with him. So he might not have found one yet, but very cool to see that they're in their summer plumage now already. Oh, off he goes. And of course we're still with the wonderful male cheetah. Now, we were chatting about cheetah and what would they do if they bumped into the leopard, and strangely enough, I think it is the first sighting I ever had of cheetah when I moved to Safari Live was the day that the quarantine male leopard chased them. And how funny, we've seen both quarantine and the exact same two male cheetah he chased, and that was quite a while ago. And Brian was on camera with me. I love the way they lie with their heads up, looking for any potential prey species that might meander into the open plains. But while we continue to sit here and wait for these beautiful boys to get on the move, James is with a bird just as noisy as himself.
I hope Brent was referring to himself there, as opposed to me. Don't you, Brian? I think that would only be fair. That there, of course, is the wonderful Hadeda. And there is its little baby. There were 3 here yesterday. I'm pretty sure there's still 3. And what he's been doing, that poor, forlorn-looking chick, is gular fluttering, much like that bird, the first Zazu bird that we saw earlier today. And he's very, very hot indeed. And so he's been sitting there with his little beak open. He looks so terrified, doesn't he? He also looks rather unattractive, wouldn't you say, Brian? He's not exactly a... I mean, you see a tiny baby lapwing, for example, and it's like a little pom-pom, and you want to pick it up and put it on your ski hat, for example. But this thing you wouldn't want to put on your ski hat, would you, Brian?
Maybe.
Well, it would look very odd. Yes. And just interesting, the size difference there. There's Mum. You can see her shapely leg just above the baby. And she's not small at all. She's probably about, I don't know, maybe... She's probably almost 2 feet long, you know, from tip to toe. And she's giving us the evil eye. There, look. The little one's now doing its gular flutter. Shame. It's so very hot. Poor little thing. It doesn't seem to register just yet that if it's in the sun it's going to get hotter. I don't see any movement from the others. I'm pretty sure they're there though, because I think I saw some feathers sticking out from the other side. I love finding nests. It's always so nice to see if they manage to fledge little chicks, and how special it is when they make it through what is a very, very vulnerable time indeed. Now, Brian, sorry, I'm going to ask you to whip round here. In this tree, there's a yellow-billed hornbill, and it's going to feed through the nest cavity. The nest cavity is there. There we go. Can you hear the babies? It's flown now. It's just go up there, yeah. And there's the nest cavity, everybody. Up a bit. It's in that kind of slit. There it is. And the only reason I knew it was here was that I saw the shadow cover the sun. He's gone there very quickly, and he's just fed through a caterpillar through that slit where I think Mrs. Hornbill... Oh, look! I think that's Mrs. Hornbill. That doesn't look like a chick to me. That is so cool, everybody. How cool is that? That's Mrs. Hornbill in her nest. And she's there probably with the chicks, because I could definitely hear some chick squawking. I just want to check how long they're in the nest for. Let's see if one of them doesn't stick its mouth out again. And we'll just find out quickly, because I'm sure that male is going to come back very soon and see if he can't perhaps feed them some other kind of caterpillar or worm or grub or something like that. Let me just quickly check. Not hern, hornbill. There we are, yellow-billed, breeding. Eggs, 2 to 6 eggs, yes, we know about that. We know that for example, those Hadedas are in the nest for 40 days. Nestling period 42 to 47 days. After that, they fly out. They're only fed for a few days after that by the adults, and then they have to forage for themselves. Wonderful. Now there are 3 nests in this area. The other one, I'm afraid, is much more difficult to see. It's a hoopoe's nest. So let's have one last look at the Hadedas, and then we'll carry on. We've come into this area hoping to find some sort of sign of the great queen herself. But alas, she doesn't seem to have come here. Right, I believe we have some answers to the... Raisa, you thought that my nearly impossible tree quiz was the low-felt milkberry tree. I'm afraid, Raisa, to have stumped you fills me with a great sense of honour, to be honest. Damon, you said knobthorn. Damon, I'm afraid you were a little bit closer than Raisa, but no, you are wrong. And both of you are wrong, and it does look like a knobthorn tree, but it isn't one. It's a black monkey thorn, and we know that because it's got much smaller leaves than the knobthorn. It was a black monkey thorn, Acacia burkii, which I will try and find you at some stage. Right, we're going to just quickly sneak away while that Hadeda goes to sleep. You see it sleeping, Brian? Let's quietly move away. Right, let's head back to the cheetahs. Go ahead, John.
Welcome back. We're still sitting here. The heads are still up. The temperature is dropping, so we are hoping they are going to get onto the move again. Now, there were some Impala through to the north of us. Oh, there we go. Timing is impeccable. Now, you can see... Now, we spent time with Leopard and Cheetah this afternoon. You can see that even though Quarantine, the male leopard, is a much heavier, bigger animal, the cheetah are taller at the shoulder. Look at the neck, how thin it is. Look at the head, the way it's shaped. So they are very, very different from a leopard. And the really interesting thing about cheetah is that their 2 closest living relatives actually live in the Americas. It's the jaguar guddy cat and, of course, the puma. And it is one of the few cats that has semi-retractable claws. And everything about it is designed for the hunt, for the chase, for speed, and in doing so they've given up almost all their defenses. So again, their best defense is speed when it comes to escaping other predators. So someone is trying to get hold of me on the Game Drive channel. Oh, apparently. Oh, rolling out. Johan. Okay, so I think I'm a bit too far for the northern channel, so I'm just going to call Andrew on the eastern channel and get him to do it for me. Andrew? Apparently Johan from Buffelshoek was looking for you. I can't hear him. My northern channel doesn't work down here anymore. Johan from Jacana. Copy, thanks. Sorry about that. So we're still with the cheetah. Ooh, there's just some golden backlight behind us. We just can't say no to, can we, David? We can't say no to golden backlight. Wasn't that stunning? There we go. Nice swing, Dave. Good form. You can see you're fresh back from leave. I hope you guys remember, share your screenshots on our Facebook page or on Twitter with the hashtag Safari Live. Now, you can see how indented their bellies are. They definitely could use a meal. Now they're heading towards the edge of the woodland. Now Oh, sorry, Dave. Oh, isn't that stunning? Look at that golden light. Andrew, how many other vehicles are standing by here? Okay, so the cheetah's going to move off. We're going to try stick with him. But while we do that, I just need to be on the game drive comms for a little bit. So let's go see what Jamie's up to as the sun starts to set.
The sun starts to set and provides us with all kinds of beautiful light. We've found something quite extraordinary on our bushwalk, and an absolute first for me in terms of things that I have seen. In this particular case, this very strange bundle, I'm not quite sure how else to describe it, that you're looking at, this peculiar looking thing that is resting on the branch in front of you, is in fact a living creature that has one of the most unique approaches to camouflage out here. And there are, of course, a few insects that do this, but this particular one I have never seen before. Now, those of you that have been watching these walks for a long time, you will have seen something called a bagworm. And bagworm is called a bagworm because it constructs its own bag, usually of sticks. So it usually looks like I'm trying to look for a good example of some sticks. It's basically just a bundle. Oh dear. Bagworm? Oh well, at least he's well camouflaged. The wind just blew him off, which is such a pity because I wanted to talk to you about how it's clearly constructed its bag out of leaves instead of sticks, but at least you had a chance to view it earlier. It's so camouflaged, I don't know where it's gone. It could be anywhere. It could literally, not anywhere, and literally is probably not the right use of that word. It is probably somewhere in here, but the fact that we found it that Herbie found in the first place was an amazing thing. The chance of me finding it a second time. Oh well, onwards. We were looking at that beautiful stink bug a little bit earlier. I have another beautiful creature to show you. I'm not harming it, by the way. It's struggling, but I'm only clasping it very, very gently. It is in fact one of our tick species. I'm pretty sure it is a bont tick. There's a couple of different bont ticks, but this is one of them. And it is seriously strong. It's really pushing very hard against my finger to try and pull itself out. But I was trying to compare it to... Sorry, buddy. It's alright. Trying to compare it to the stink bug and the colours of the stink bug and the patterns of the stink bug. Equally pretty and equally unwelcome, I think perhaps is a good way of describing it. Right, before you bury yourself, and I promise you these things are indestructible, so I'm not hurting it in any way. I'm going to pop you away from the bagworm over there. And on that note, it is time for us to head home. And the sun is starting to set. It's getting more dangerous to be out here as it starts to get darker. So it's time for us to say our goodbyes. So Jean-Andre, thank you for your wonderful camera work. Thank you, Herbie. And thank you to all of you for joining us, sending through your questions and your comments. You can finish off with Herbie's amazing smile. And it is time for us to say farewell. I'll see you tomorrow on the Sunrise Safari. Until then, bye-bye everybody and have a wonderful day.
We're on our way to Treehouse Dam now. We tried twin dams, nothing is drinking there. And you know, I think that the dispersal of animals has happened because it rained first here at Djuma. So we had a flush of great green here and we had animals around every termite mound. And then what happened, of course, was that the it started raining everywhere else, and everywhere else went green, and so our slightly overgrazed area suddenly wasn't flavour of the month anymore. You know, so we're going from waterhole to waterhole. Weren't those nesting birds very special? I think that's just fantastic. So we had the Hornbill. We also had a magpie pike nest in the far western sector of Arathusa. Now for me, it's very unusual that I managed to find so much nests. Now this is a very good question from Safari Dean, to which I think I know the answer. Safari Dean, you say, are there any birds that can fly as soon as they hatch? Well, there are certainly, as you know, I'm sure, that there are many birds that can get up and run as soon as they hatch. The plovers that I was talking about earlier being an excellent example. In terms of flying, I'm going to say no. I don't think that there are any, other than the ostrich, of course, which can fly when it's born and loses that ability to fly as it becomes an adult. That's untrue, Safari Dean. No, and I'll tell you why I don't think they can fly. I don't believe that any bird can. However, the feathers. The feathers are long, they have to be long, and they have to be barbed, and their surface area has got to be enormous in relation to the bird. And for that to happen, I just don't think that they could fit inside the egg. And so I think that there are any birds that can fly at birth. Now there is a waterbuck in the water. What a strange place to find a waterbuck, Brian. Very odd, very odd. Let's hope it likes the sound of squeaking brakes. Oh, yes, all right, we'll go away shortly. It's a great...
Welcome back, everyone. We just had to give someone else a chance with the cheetahs, so we came back to check where Mr. Q was, and he's moved. But I can hear some squirrels alarm calling. Hang on. Binoculars. Ah, I thought he was being silly and climbing a tree, but he's not. So we heard squirrels alarm calling around where that dead tree is there. So while we wait to look for cheetahs, we might as well look at leopard. He could also be on the move. The temperatures dropped quite a bit. Remember, this is a live African safari, and we had a first today. Dave, quarantine managed to kill a scrub hare while we were live on Facebook, on the Nat.Geo Wild Facebook page. So you can have a look there and see if you want to see it. I do warn you, it is quite graphic. He did play with his food a little bit. Any luck, Steph? Okay. I copy. I'll see if we can get inside if we have any luck. Okay, so we're gonna go sneak through here. I'm pretty sure he's around here somewhere, and see if we have any luck. So if I'm not looking back at you, it's because we are off-roading and I don't want to break another steering arm. He's found him. He's gonna cross our boundary. No, Mr. Quarantine. So he's about to cross across our northern boundary. Oh, quickly, quickly, quickly! Oh, up! So he's just crossed onto Incoral. Unfortunately, we're going to have some lovely views of his backside disappearing. There he is. So he's already crossed our northern boundary of Cheetah Plains, and hopefully he'll be back in the morning. You never know. He is quite hungry. He is a magnificent animal. Isn't that gorgeous? So he's going to cross deeper into Incoral, and we're going to make our way back towards those cheetah. So while we do that, let's go see how Commander Bond is.
Now we're trying to find, in fact, a very specific thing here. It is a tree agama that we're trying to find, and that is because I like tree agamas. They have pretty blue heads, and we found a couple on a marula tree just near Treehouse Dam the other day. I took a typically rank average photograph of it, and I'm rather hoping to find another. So as we drive slowly along Philemon's cut line here, we're going to scour the tree trunks of all the marula trees and see if we can't see the telltale blue head of the blue-headed tree agama. Now Brian doesn't want to see an agama, do you, Brian?
I do.
You say you'd rather see a chameleon.
I would rather see.
Now Brian, chameleons are very difficult to see in the middle of the day. They're even difficult to see in the middle of the night.
I would like to see one.
Well, that's fair enough, Brian, but we don't always get what we want. I would be so deeply excited if we managed to find a blue-headed tree agama. Then, the other thing, while in the absence of any kind of large predatory or tusked animal, I would like to try and get a piece of the lighted matches, which of course are the flowers of one of the mistletoe species that we get here. So if we find some obvious ones, we'll do that. I can tell you without doubt that we were not the first people here today. Indeed not. It seems that there was a light-footed lady walking along here, possibly with a slightly more heavily-footed man, and then one very heavily-footed fellow. Do you think they could have been Gendre, Jamie, and Herbie? I think so, most likely. Now, in all seriousness, agamas and lighted matches. None on that tree. I know where Penny's question comes from. Hello Penny, you're just 7 years old and you say, do we get any sloths here? No Penny, we don't. You've been watching Planet Earth, haven't you? I think you have. Planet Earth 2. And Penny, we don't get sloths here. They're only found, as far as I know, in South America and on the islands around South America. That's where you find sloths, or sloths, depending on how you say it. We don't get any in Africa at all. They are rather special creatures, aren't they? They're very cute indeed. But no, they wouldn't survive here, Penny. There are too many things that would eat them, because they move so very slowly. They're pretty easy to catch, and so in an area with as many predators as we have here, I think it's very unlikely that a sloth would survive for very long at all. Gosh, it is rather astounding how few mammals there are out this afternoon. I'm sure they will return shortly. Brian, do you think you would recognize an elephant if you saw it?
Probably not.
I don't know that I would. Andy and Julia, you're in the bush. No, you're not. You're in You're in Los Angeles, we're in the bush, and you're wondering if there are animals out here that are able to sleep for as long as human beings can. In other words, that will sleep for extended periods. There are a few. And it's a very good question, of course, because it may seem like an obvious question to some, but it's a good one because very few are able to afford the luxury of closing their eyes for 8 hours at a time and switching off completely. Lions will do it. As many of you have seen, lions will sleep very soundly, but not like a human being will. They don't ever go into that depth of slumber where you can walk past them, let off a bomb outside their rooms or something like that, and they will not wake up. That doesn't happen with the animals out here. They do sleep for, I think, cubs for extended periods, and certainly young elephants will sleep for extended-ish periods. Nothing like we do for 8 hours, though. Lions will sleep cumulatively for about 20 hours of the day. Leopards, I would say, probably for 16 to 18 hours of the day. Many of the cats also, but it's not sound sleep like we have. They will always lift their heads up periodically, and the slightest noise will make them wake up. And that, of course, is because they are under a lot more threat than us when we're in a secure environment of sleep. So that's a really actually fascinating question to have asked. And I'm just trying to think, other than the sloth, of course, which we spoke about, are there any other animals in all nature, perhaps in areas where there are fewer predators, that would sleep for as long as we do? And I suspect you'll find things like koala bears, which of course which aren't bears at all really, but they live in Australasia, where there are no sort of arboreal predators at all. I think you'll find that they probably sleep for that length of time, but out here, no, nothing at all will sleep for extended periods like a human being can. What a great question. I've actually never thought of it like that. So we tend to say a lot about lions sleeping all the time and having their 20 hours a day. They do, but they don't have that sound sleep that we as human beings do. I know when I was a child, really, you could have, the world could have ended outside my window, and, I wouldn't have noticed. And I know a few people like that now, even adults. I still haven't found any lighted matches for you or Triagamas. I'm sorry. I am doing my level best. Let's stop by the home of Pinchy Weiner and see if he has emerged. We haven't gone past him. No, here he is. Oh, Brian, I think it's time that we finally come to the sad realization that Pinchy Weiner is no more. We have had water in the area. We have had sufficient water for Pinchy to have emerged. And Jane, while I answer your question, let us pay tribute to Pinchy Weiner, who was a freshwater crab. And Jane, you say, do Triagamas only live, Like my name, James? Oh, James. Triagamas, I don't think live only in specific trees, no. I think they live in probably, I've certainly seen them in knobthorns, but they tend to live quite a lot in marulas, and I suspect it's because they've got nice, long, easy trunks. And I'm just sorting out sufficient tribute for Pinchy Weiner here, everybody. Pinchy Weiner, for those of you who are perhaps new viewers, was a crab. He lived in that hole that Brian has just showed you, and unfortunately we think a buffalo sat on him. We think a buffalo sat on him, and that is how he shook off this mortal coil. And so we shall pay tribute to Pinchy Weiner with the marking of a grave. I can't make it stand, Brian. Clearly Pinchy didn't want a tribute left for him. There we are. R.I.P. Pinchy Weiner. Crab, friend, character. Entrepreneur. That is quite possibly the most ridiculous segment I've ever done. I cannot leave that there, of course, because somebody's going to come past and think that I've gone stark raving mad, which of course I have. It just shows you the depths to which I've sunk in my attempts to find some form of animal life to tell you about. Right, there we go. On we go. I don't believe I just did that, actually. And then Brian feeds the problem, of course, because he says things like entrepreneur when describing Pinchy Weiner, the freshwater crab who was sat upon by a buffalo. There's a deathly silence from the final control. I think they're all in shock. Let's head across to Brent, get an update from him. I don't know what he's going to be doing for you now.
Copy, thanks Andrew. Sorry about that, we've just got our gap back to the cheetahs, off we go. Andrew unfortunately crossed back into Nkoro. Hold on, we're getting to the cheetah now. And they're on a Hornbill's Nest road. Now, I assume there must be a Hornbill's Nest on this road at some point, or there was one at some point in time. I have never found one, though. Okay, let's go. We're going to try catch up. They are heading north. It looks like they're probably going to cross in Corser as well. Ah, there we go. We've caught up now. I'm probably going to have to do some maneuvering to get up ahead of them. Just trying to spot them. There they are. Hello, boys. Okay, we're going to have a quick look. And then I'm going to go around to try and get ahead of them. Now, they are moving in the same direction as Quarantine, parallel to them. Oh, it looks like they might head further to the east. There you go. Johan's giving us a chance to go forward. Oh no, okay, I'm just going to zoot around the vehicles. Okay, sorry about this, the Game Drive channel's a bit busy. Standing by, Andrew. FM, thank you very, very much, Andrew. Okay, so they're opposite us, but I'm just going to get up ahead of them so we can wait. And Steve in the UK has asked a question. He said he's heard that cheetah don't do too well where there are lots and lots of lions. Now, Steve, that is mostly true, although I have seen cheetah do very well in areas where there are lots of lions. But generally, where lions are, cheetah females have lots of mortality rates, and in certain parts like the Serengeti at certain times of the year, cheetah mortalities can be as high as 90%, but normally they're between 50 and 70%, so on par with the other large cats. There we go, they're the two boys. They are hungry. Now this is the best time of the day for them to hunt. Now, cheetah do climb trees to scent mark. They can climb trees to escape larger cats, and that's what Stephanie was wondering. And except for leopards, of course, Stephanie. Leopards are far more adept climbers than they are. Hold on. And sneak through the little gap here. Oh, get skinny, Dave. There we go. Beautiful. So this is the time of the day when cheetah are the most successful in their hunts, the crepuscular hours. So around dusk and dawn. I just can't get enough of saying the word crepuscular. Now, often people are under the impression that cheetah need big open plains to hunt. They are just as adept at hunting in woodland like this, and for a lot of their range, cheetah occur more in woodland than in wide open plains, because of course there is more woodland than the wide open plains. Okay, well, they are getting quite close to our northern boundary now. They're probably about 60 or 70 meters, maybe a little bit longer away. I'm going to move up ahead again to try and get one last great view of them. While we do that, James has got a wildebeest.
Now everybody, we managed to find a mammal, didn't we, Brian? Woo! Hooray. And it's a wildebeest bull, and he's on his own and hiding behind a bush. There we go, he's turning his head, now we can see his horns. Now I think this is one of the most underrated animals out here. Superbly designed for high speed, high distance migrations. Gorgeous collection of dark black stripes on charcoal body. Face to die for. Slightly golden lower legs, horse-like tail, buffalo-like horns. I mean, he's an impressive beast, isn't he, Brian? Musculature in his bottom. Look at that. You can see the sinew on either side of his quarters. Now, one must, of course, as they used to say, when telling you how to tell a story, it's really how you tell it, not what you tell. And that's how we are telling the story of the wildebeest, and now the red-billed oxpecker. I'm very sad that we haven't seen our herd. I mean, I say our herd. But let's head straight back to the cheetah. They're about to disappear into Nkoro. We'll continue into the western sunset.
Okay, it looked like they might be about to climb this tree. This is the type of tree. Oh, of course they didn't. Oh, but they're getting playful as it gets cooler. Running down. Oh, running. That white patch behind is the boundary. Let's try and keep up with them to get one last view. Okay, we're going to have to just shoot a little bit to get them crossing the boundary. Okay, hold on guys, we're going to catch them as they cross, unfortunately, like Mr. Q did, to the north. But what a spectacular sunset safari it has been so far. Here we go, they're probably going to scent mark that false marula. There we go, the simultaneous scent marking. And unfortunately, there they go. Straight across the northern edge of our traverse. Not more than 100 meters from where quarantine just crossed. Just sneak forward slightly as we watch them disappear. There they go. Very unfortunate, but we have had some lovely views of them so far this evening. And coupled with Mr. Quarantine, it has been a spectacular afternoon down on Cheetah Plains. The plains living up to their name today. Well, hopefully, since they're so hungry, they might catch something. So we're going to leave them be, and while we do that, let's go see what feathered friend James has on the ground.
Brian has found something extremely special, everybody. I stopped here in order to show you a blacksmith lapwing. That is not a blacksmith lapwing. It is not even a lapwing. It is a Corser. That is the Temmincks Corser. The only other one I've seen here was on the open areas where you've been watching Cheetah there with Brent. Isn't that cool? Now he's either having a dust bath or maybe sitting on a nest. I can't tell from here. That is very cool. The Temmincks Corser. Dust bathing, not sitting on eggies. Now it says here that they're nomadic. And what that means, everybody, is that they're not migratory, but it means that they will be in areas like this where they aren't normally, and then they'll disappear again, and then they'll come back maybe that year or many years later. That's so cool. And look, interestingly, the same sort of back of the head as the black-bellied bustard has. You see that? Looks a little bit like a snake. I'm sure that's why they've coloured like that. So any potential predator thinks, ooh, I don't want to go there. And they are nocturnal, so just waking up as the sun sets, and will wander off to try and catch largely insects and things like that. And it's called a Corser for the same reason that we say cheetah, which Brent was looking at, obviously. See how I'm linking, Brian? See the linking the two vehicles together. It's very clever of me. It's described as a Corser, same as a cheetah, because it courses after its prey. It doesn't hawk them, which would be what a drongo does, flying down from a perch and grabbing them out of the air. It doesn't do what a lilac-breasted roller does, which flies down onto the ground and grabs prey. This thing will chase them down. Much the same as a lapwing. You see how beautifully hidden he is? If Brian zooms all the way out, he will disappear. That's a remarkable spot, Brian. Well done. Everyone, I'd love to know if you have this on your list. I know we have seen one before on Cheetah Plains, probably more than once, but I wonder if some of you weren't watching that and perhaps you hadn't had him on your list. The Temmincks Corser. That, of course, the blacksmith lapwing, just showing how magnificent he is by stretching his legs. There we are, very nice. I've sometimes described my own legs as lapwing legs, but I'm afraid those are too long. I think mine are more the legs of the sandgrass, really. Oh, Penny Pine, you were watching this morning, and Brent and Herbert managed to find 2 eggs from what they think was a Natal Franklin, and you want to know what I did with them. What I did with them was to very lightly boil them for about, 2 minutes each. Then I gently peeled them. I placed them on a bed of very nice rocket. On top, some chorizo sausage mixed in with some nice Parma ham. We put a little bit of hollandaise sauce on the top of that and ate them for breakfast. They were delicious. Thank you, Penny Pine, for asking about the eggs that Herbie and Brent found for me. They are sitting on my desk, Penny. I didn't, in fact, eat them. That would be a dangerous thing to do. They're on my desk, and they'll go into the tent the next time we do that, which, of course, will be probably close to the end of this week. We'll be back in the tent, so they're just saving up time before they go back to the tent. I didn't eat them for breakfast. All right, let's carry on and see what we can see as the night starts to fall. That makes me feel very hungry there. Now, I was talking about the tent, and you may be saying to yourself, but why is he going to be in the tent? We don't do the tent every day, and you'll be absolutely correct, of course. We are going into another bout of rehearsals next week, and on the 1st of January, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States on Nat.Geo Wild, we will be starting the first of an 8-week series that goes every week at 10 p.m. on Sunday evenings live from the Kruger Park. So it'll be 10 to 12 Eastern Standard Time on Nat.Geo Wild TV. So that's why we're going to be doing these rehearsals again next week. And we do hope fervently that you will all join us. If you don't live in the United States, I'm pretty sure we'll be doing it still on the internet, so don't worry about that. You're not going to miss out. But we're going all the way to TV for 8 weeks every Sunday night from the 1st of January Eastern Standard Time. It will of course be the 2nd of January here, morning time, 6 o'clock in the morning here. Brian, do you see that the drainage humps on this road come from the Arathusa rather than Cheetah Plains School of Road Building? Yes, these ones are liable to drive your thoracic vertebra into your lumbar and cervical ones at the same time. Let me slow right down. They're extremely effective. There we are. Right, the lights are on. Time to pull out the spotlight and say, can we see a chameleon? And many of you saying the Temmincks Corser is new to your bird list, so thank you very much for that. I'm now very peckish at the thought of the meal I just described. I do find breakfast my very favourite meal of the day. I think it's a little bit bright still for the spotlight. Okay. Our plan from here is to head up to the very far northwestern corner and see if something hasn't crossed in, because the Nkuhumas are over that way. Hello Winter Prism, you're wondering if the TV shows mean that we'll be going to other areas and perhaps extending different areas of the Kruger. No, not for this particular show. We will be on the same area, Djuma, Cheetah Plains, Arathusa. Winter Prism, it's not really as simple as just kind of moving away. We have an infrastructure here that has a limited signal range, so we can't just kind of, you know, like we were asked, for example, the other day, would we take a walk in the Drakensberg Mountains? Perfectly reasonable question. Would be a wonderful thing to do, but we're not going to do that because we wouldn't be able to receive a signal. So these are the areas in which we receive signal, and no, I don't think we're going to be extending the traversing at all for the TV. I think we'll be in much the same places that you have come to be familiar with. So not much is going to change on that front. Hello Sally in Oregon. Yes, I'm afraid you're correct. You say Sundays 10 p.m. will only be 2-hour drives. That is correct. There'll be 2-hour drives. Otherwise, I don't think anything will change. But that is not for certain yet. We will still have to decide if the internet shows are going to run completely as normal. They will be largely unaffected. There we have 2 baby impalas with their mummies. And these little herds, I think, I mean, you could call this a herd, it's a bit of a laugh, but, you know, there are 4 of them. I think you'll find that they are in this little herd and not a bigger herd, because these are very new little lambs. So they would have given birth probably, oh, I don't know, maybe even in the last night, you know. Aren't they sweet? It is very sad to see how many of them get draped over trees by the leopards of the area, but the leopards have to eat, of course. And as I was saying to somebody the other day, and I think I said it to you lot when I got back from the Mara, I said, when we were watching crocodiles eating Thompson's gazelles, for example, as they were trying to swim across the river, there was no question as to who the villain was. Now, this was pointed out to me by Mr. Wallington. He said, you know, a crocodile is always the villain. Nobody ever feels sorry for a crocodile. But when you're watching Karula, for example, eating an impala lamb, it's always with slightly mixed feelings, isn't it? Because you want the impala lamb, that cute little thing there, to survive. And yet also you want desperately for Karula to have enough to eat and to feed her youngsters. So it's mixed feelings. It's never mixed feelings when a crocodile snaps a Thompson's gazelle or a wildebeest out the water. You're always rooting for the wildebeest or the gazelle. I think that's rather interesting, don't you, Brian?
I do.
Yes, on we go. We're heading towards the sandy patch, and Brent Leo Smith is still on Cheetah Plains. I don't know what he's still trying to find over there right now, but I've no doubt with his ample vocal cords he will tell you.
See, I like the way James talks about my ample vocal cords when he's the one who's heard singing all the time. Fortunately for everyone, I don't sing. Otherwise, I think the people in camp might take me out. Yes, but what a splendid afternoon it's been down here on Cheetah Plains. And Cheetah and Golden Light, Quarantine, one of my favourite leopards. And I remember we actually saw him catch a scrub hare live. And initially I actually thought it was a little duiker from the noise it made. It sounded very similar to a baby duiker or a baby steenbok. And it's amazing the vocal range a hare has. And as I said, you can watch that on Nat.Geo Wild's Facebook page. And again, warning, it is a little bit gruesome. He did play with his food a little bit. He let it go, caught it again, let it go, caught it again. But we must remember that that's nature, and that's how that leopard survives every day. Now, hopefully, now that the cheetah and the leopard have gone to Incoral, maybe it's time for Queen Karula to come back to Djuma, and for the Inkalumas to also come back to Djuma. That would be quite wonderful. But we will find out bright and early on tomorrow's sunrise safari. And that's the incredible thing, is we're out here every day for 6 hours a day, and we get to follow the incredible lives of this African wildlife. And no filters, no storylines, no scripts. It's real, it's live, and it happens right in front of you. And remember, hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV if you've got any questions about what we do or what we see out here. Dave and I are on quite a high. That was Dave's first ever leopard kill. Yep. Not even live or whatnot, his first ever leopard kill. So Dave is still smiling. And beautiful cheetah in orange light. And then the last time I saw cheetah was in August, so it's been a while. I was really hoping they'd find some impala to chase over an open plain though, but alas, we can't have it all. Hello, a zombie cow. A zombie cow would like to know, is it normal for an adult leopard to play with its food like that? It is. I've seen we've seen Karula do it with the duiker. So it is normal, it's instinctive. Once it's damaged enough that they sort of know it's not going to escape, sort of, why not? Pat pat. Oh, naughty elephant. I wish you were here, because I haven't seen elephants in so long. Right across the road. Okay, there we go. It's a bit too big and heavy to lift that one. Now, we're going to start slowly making our way towards Djuma again. We are coming up towards the Cheetah Plains Lodge. And the one thing, actually, I haven't seen the sticks. I haven't seen the new sticks cubs yet. I know Jamie has. I'm not sure whether James has. So who knows? Maybe our luck's running so high we can see the third big cat in one drive. So fingers crossed that Dave and I happen to find the third big cat in one drive. And are we being selfish? But we can always try. While we do that, let's go see how James is faring back on Djuma.
I'm just hoping for a mammal trifecta, everybody. Brian, have we seen a mammal trifecta? We've seen a waterbuck, we've seen an impala.
Yes. That's about all for today.
And a wildebeest. We got a mammal trifecta. Thank you very much, Kirsten. We are heroes, Brian. We are absolutely amazing, aren't we? so amazing. Who wants to see Quarantine and Cheetah? I mean, who wants to see that? I just like to breathe in the air, Brian, melt in the sun, listen to the invisible white-browed scrub robin make its final call of the evening. We also, don't forget, saw the Temmincks Corser, which was having a very nice dust bath. And maybe there will be something that has come down to have a little bit of a drink at Sydney's Dam. Or onto the open clearings here. I'm hoping for at least a few more Impala on the clearings here. And soon, in fact, it is definitely by now dark enough for me to be looking for chameleons. It's okay, Brian, I'm alright, don't worry.
I'm also alright too.
I'm so glad that you're alright, Brian. It's very important that you remain alright. No, not one Impala in the clearings. Just a vast expanse of uneaten and very delicious grass. Ah, there's one. There's one. Sean, you should have been with us this morning. You won't believe what we saw. You say you would love to see a hyena. I so wanted to see a hyena today, and I actually went past the dens just to check if there were any around. There aren't, but we saw one on Arathusa. So let's stop and quickly have a look at those Impala over there. And there we are. Impala looking at us, thinking, how do you do? It's worse and worse. What was I saying? I was saying something of vital importance, Brian, about hyenas. That's right, Sean. We saw a hyena on Arathusa today, which was very nice indeed. It was a very happy hyena. It was sitting in some mud in the water at 6:30 as the volcanic sun took to burning us to a cinder. It looked like the best possible place to be at that time of the day. And then I was inspired, like I said, to come back to Djuma and have a look around some of the den sites here. And I'm afraid they're not back yet. They're still in the Manileti, which is quite a long way to the north of where we are now. So let's watch the frolicking Impalas for a little while. They do this quite a lot in the morning, and clearly also in the evening. The youngsters run around. It just helps them to sort of, it's an extremely important part of what animals do, of course, and I've said this before, and probably exactly the same time of year. The playing that animals do helps their neurological systems, their nervous systems, and their musculature, and their bones, and their ligaments, and all that sort of thing, all of them to coordinate with each other to create the adult form. They need to make their muscles strong, and the play behavior helps them to do that in the same way that it does with kids. And that's why, of course, we're all slightly panicked by the amount of time children spend staring at screens rather than running around, digging in the sand and, well, pushing each other about the place, I suppose. You know, when I was a child, Brian, we had to go and play outside, and we weren't allowed to watch television. We only got television very late in my life. That's not untrue, everybody. We got television in South Africa in 1976. The government at the time, very backward indeed, thought that perhaps the television was designed by the devil and that we therefore shouldn't watch it. But now we have TV and we have internet. We can live stream Impala to you into your living rooms from where we sit here. Look at those two funny little things on the far left there, having a little box. And you know what? We definitely can see the different characteristics that Hosana and Shongile have, and I've no doubt in my mind that Impala youngsters also have different characteristics. But of course, we don't spend enough time with them as individuals, because yes, we may well see that Impala that we're looking at browsing now, and bear in mind it's only 2 weeks old and it's browsing already. We may well see that one again, but to recognize it would be almost impossible. So I'm sure some of them are shy, some of them are more playful than others, some of them are dim-witted, some of them are intellectual giants of the Impala world, able to count to 3 with no trouble at all. Right, we're going to try and move now. Let's see if we can. We seem to have some strong signal. Are you ready, Brian?
I'm ready.
Done.
Welcome back. Apologies about that, and we are live in the bush. So what Dave and I are doing is just slowly sidling down the road. I'm just looking for my light. There it is. I think I can hear a little owlet, which is the reason I turned off the vehicle, but I'm hoping it's not a drongo imitating. I think I spot him. Oh, there's 2, one on either side of us. Or is it the drongos causing trouble? Let's check this side. Let's roll a little bit forward. Now, of course, fork-tailed drongos like to imitate these little owlets. They're always looking for a fight. They've gone silent now. I'm just going to move off the road here. Now, we're sitting on a crest, and there's a little river in front of us called the Mowanini, and that far crest in the distance there is Djuma. And you can just make out the Drakensberg Mountains if you zoom there towards the clouds. A little bit to the left, away from the the electricity poles. There we go. You can see there that far crest where the top pole is. That's Djuma. And it's amazing. It's that strange time of the day when it's the changing of the guards. It's almost completely silent as the daytime animals finish their calling and the nocturnal animals start theirs. Except for, of course, the one fork-tailed drongo. Some cicadas. One fork-tailed drongo. So that answers the question who was doing the pearl-spotted owlet call, or mimicking it at least. But I know, this is Torchwood next to us here, and I know there's a male line not too far away, so I was just trying to see if he might give us a little... Now, the Birminghams have been nice and vocal recently. It's amazing. It's just a completely different sound as the day goes to night and all the nocturnal critters come out. Hey, a cat in Tampa says, has it been overcast? She hasn't seen a sunrise or a sunset. Well, we've had a bit of both, but there have been quite cloudy mornings that have built through to heat during the day, and then that heat during the day has actually caused cloud cover to come in from about the time we go live, except for today. The sun tried to melt us. I think I applied sun cream about 6 times during that quarantine sighting. It was blisteringly hot there. He was hogging all the shade, selfish leopard that he is. I'm going to move a little bit further down the road. No owls, unfortunately, just a pesky drongo looking for a fight. Now, we've had a splendid afternoon down in the east. Sometimes we go down there and it's deathly quiet. The odd Impala, the odd Wildebeest. But today it was incredible. We were incredibly spoilt by 2 fantastic big cat sightings. So we are going to now head off towards dinner on Djuma, and from Dangerous Dave. Oh, I nearly forgot Dave. So Dave has just got back from leave, and he told me that he was the hottest thing on the Cape Town beaches.
No, I didn't.
So from Dangerous Dave and myself, it's been an absolute pleasure. So let me rephrase. From Dangerous Dave, the hottest thing on the Cape Town beaches this summer, and myself, Brent, will see you bright and early tomorrow morning for the sunrise safari. Let's go see how Commander Bond's doing.
Well, everybody, we're now got just a few minutes left to try and find a chameleon. We're doing our best, aren't we, Brian? Scouring every bushel, every leaf for the telltale luminous green sign of a chameleon. Flap-necked version thereof, only version that we get here. I've always been slightly surprised by that we only get 1 chameleon in this part of the world. There are some others down in the Cape, many of course in Madagascar, which ceased to be part of Africa many years ago. Even before I was born, do you know that, Brian? That's how long ago it was. Anyway, we might be lucky. Let's see. We'll drive a little bit faster to cover a little bit more ground because we don't have much time left. Isn't it interesting, as Brent was saying, we were talking about the sunset and sunrise, and we don't see a great deal of sunset. And no, in fact we do. I don't know why he was saying we don't see the sunset and the sunrise. Why was he saying that, Kirsten? Oh, because of the clouds, I suspect. Is that what she meant? I think there have been some lying storm clouds in the west in the afternoons and in the mornings. I mean, we're out at the right time for the sunrise, but it's just that the clouds have been around for a while before they've sizzled off completely to burn us to pieces in the middle of the day. I have found 1 chameleon all season, Brian. It is rather sad. How many have you seen? 2. I wonder if this isn't sort of a hangover, if you like, from the drought. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Any nocturnal creature would be very pleasant. There is a civet who lives around here somewhere. Yet to see him, of course. We'll just do a little turnaround quarantine as has become the tradition. Oh, there, Brian, look at that. It is a member of the rabbit family. A scrub hare with its red eyes. I think these are hugely underrated animals. This is our 4th mammal of the day, Brian. 4th mammal.
Incredible.
Gee whiz. Our cup truly runneth over. This one is alive, isn't it? Yes, look, it's chewing. Now, of all the animals and their digestive strategies, of course, the scrub hare is a very interesting one. It does something called coprophagy, which I'm sure many of you know, but some of you probably don't. And so, unlike a ruminant, which will bring its food up again, rechew it, and swallow it, the scrub hare, on the first passing, the food comes out of its bottom as a kind of like a jelly almost, and it re-eats that directly, eats it again, digests it again, and it comes out as a sort of hardened pale pellet, and you can definitely identify them. They're sort of Steenbok sized. No, in fact, they're a bit bigger. They're almost Impala sized. Very plain kind of tan brown. All right, everybody, that is going to be it from us tonight. Thank you, Brian, for your efforts. Well done. Mosquito Thumb says bzzz, goodbye. Very nice. A big thank you to Kirsten in the final control, being ably assisted by Louise Pavid back again. Hello, Louise. Lovely to have you with us. And, of course, to Jamie and Brent and David and Jean-Andre. We will see you tomorrow again at 5 o'clock. Bye-bye.